easy. I don't ever smoke the dizzy, but we can always share some ditsies. It's just a cup in time. This song doesn't have to run. Life's all of us, not every moment we can be feeling fine. I wanna share a moment, just a second if you will, maybe even a cup of thrill. We could share this performance. It's tea time, come sit with me.
Well, welcome guys, Miss Liz in the house. And today I have the incredible Erin Braddock in the house. And we're going to be talking about her Mahj Pit and that Mahj Pit. I think I'm saying it right. If not, I'll get her to say it. We're going to talk about the Mahjong game. That's right. So we got a good tea time coming. But before we get started, you guys know how Miss Liz rolls. We're going to roll you over to all the platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, all of those good platforms. Give those a like, follow, and subscribe, and get these tea times out there. Also, jump over to all the podcast apps: Podbean, Spotify, Listen Notes, iHeartRadio, all of those good ones. Miss Liz is on all of those platforms as well. Check those out. Give those like and follow and subscribe. And also jump over to babyboomers.org because Miss Liz is partnered with them. You can find some other incredible podcasts out there. And if you're looking to be on other shows, check that platform out as well. So babyboomers.org. But before we get started, we're going to do disclaimer, intro, all that good stuff. And today's tea is actually an interesting tea. So we're going to talk about traditions don't disappear, they evolve. Mahjong is one of those rare rituals that still gives people a reason to sit down together and stay a while. Education. Mahjong isn't really about tiles. It's about creating a shared experience where conversation, memories, and connections naturally happen across generations. The awareness where we're living in time when people are craving real gathering again. Something as simple as a table and a game can become the place where belonging starts. That is the tea we are serving today. So we are serving a good, strong cup of tea with all of you guys. So let's get into the disclaimer and beautiful intro. And we're going to get Erin in here and we're going to spill some tea together. Disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time live show. Miss Liz's Tea Time is a global platform dedicating to sharing real life stories, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations that inspire awareness, healing, and connection. Miss Liz is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment during the live broadcast, please grant StreamYard permission to display your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that all the content brought forward during any Tea Time show is presented in good faith. However, discussions may include opinions, beliefs, and perspectives that do not necessarily represent the views of Miss Liz or the Tea Time platform. Information shared by guests is based on their own experiences and is perceived to be accurate at the given time of airing. All guests, viewers, and participants are responsible for using their own good judgment when considering any action or decision that may relate to these discussions. Some episodes may cover sensitive topics, including but not limited to trauma, abuse, grief, mental health, and other emotionally triggering subjects. Listeners' and viewers' discretion is strongly advised. Tea Time with Miss Liz is an open discussion forum designed to offer insight, inspire awareness, and create connection. It is not a substitute for professional, medical, legal, or therapeutical advice. If you require professional support, please seek assistance from qualified professionals or trusted resources in your area. If you have questions regarding this disclaimer or the content of the discussion, you are welcome to contact me, aka Miss Liz, directly at my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com or visit my link tree at Miss Liz's Tea Time. By choosing to participate in, comment on, or view these live shows, you acknowledge and accept this disclaimer. Your participation is entirely voluntary. Miss Liz, welcomes you to join the conversation with an open heart. And if at any time you feel this platform is not right for you, I respect your wishes and decision and welcome you back whenever you are ready. Tea Time with Miss Liz is serving truth and awareness one cup at a time. Well, welcome to Tea Time with Miss Liz, where we explore the way people are bringing connection, creativity, and meaning back into everyday life. Today's guest is redefining what gathering together can look and feel like in a world that often moves too fast and feels too disconnected. Please join me in welcoming Erin Braddock, founder and CEO of Mahj Pit, a modern Mahjong brand transforming a timeless game into an intentional experience centered around community, storytelling, and human connection. With a background in design and passion for creating beautiful experiences, Erin saw an opportunity to reimagine Mahjong, Mahjong in a way that felt welcoming, elevated, and deeply meaningful for today's generation. What began as a love of game and thoughtful design quickly became something bigger, a movement bringing people back around the table. At the heart of Madge Pit is more than tiles and strategy. It's a conversation, it's belonging, it's slowing down long enough to truly connect. It's a time where so much of life happens behind screens. Erin's work reminds us of the beauty that can happen when people gather face to face, laugh together, learn together, and create moments that become memories. So grab your cup and lean in. Today's tea time is about connection, creativity, tradition, evolving with purpose, and the power of gathering together. Let me get Erin in here. Let's spill some tea.
Hi, thank you so much
Welcome,
for
Erin.
having me. Thank you. So nice to be
Oh,
here.
did I lose you?
Can you hear me?
There we go. I got you.
Got it. Great. Thank you so much for having me. And it's so nice to be here. I appreciate the invite.
Well, I am honored to have you here because I like board games and I like bringing back old traditions. So when you reached out to be on Teatime, I was like, absolutely, let's do this.
Yeah.
So, Erin, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into the Mahj Pit and how it all came together. So, who were you as a little girl, and who are you now?
I think as a little girl, I was very quiet, so shy. I think that everybody worried that I was probably never ever going to talk. And I feel like I didn't actually talk until I went away to college. And then I was like, oh, okay. I, am here and I'm going to figure out life. And so I was really shy. I was always a creative kid. I was always very much in my thoughts and in my head and in my imagination. And I still am to a large extent. I'm just not quiet anymore.
The lion has come out.
Right.
So, Erin, who are you today?
I still think that after a long career in corporate America and tech, and I think that I am less quiet and less reserved, but I still need time to myself to recharge. I still need like that little girl, I still need the creativity and the space to create and to make things and to explore. So those things are still very, very important to me.
Well, I want to get into your tea because your tea is a nice one. I like when my guests go deep into their tea. Instead of just giving me a couple of words, they give me a good explanation of what their tea is. Let's get into the tea first. The tea that you gave me for teaching is traditions don't disappear, they evolve. Mahjong is one of those rare rituals that still gives people a reason to sit down together and stay a while. Why'd you give me that for the teaching part?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Mahjong is a game where I have taught a lot of people how to play. I think it's a really beautiful thing that you're able to sit down and spend time with people you love amongst a game. I love a game. I love any game. And so it's quite exciting to be able to share this with people that you love. And I've actually retired from teaching because I was like, I've taught everybody that I know and love how to play. I've given them all at least one lesson. So like I'm good to go. But yeah, I think that being able to sit amongst these the game and sort of the rituals of the game is always just a privilege, and to be able to share space and time with people that you love is really what the whole thing's about.
Absolutely. And we don't connect enough. And I like the second part because the second part is about the tiles and conversation and all that. So let's get into the Mahjong. Isn't really about tiles. It's about creating a shared experience where conversation, memory, and connection naturally happens across generations. I like that because we're opening up the avenue for the generations, right? To pass it along. So tell me why you gave me that for the education part.
Yeah, so I think that I'm a big fan of intergenerational friendships, and I feel like I have seen so much of that through even people just emailing me photos of them playing with their kids with my tiles, which is such an honor. So it is, I sent my niece, who was 3 at the time, a sort of a kid's version of a Mahj game. And she loves it. She took her tiles to show and tell for her class, which I thought was adorable. But yeah, and then, it spans all the way from when I was at my friend's house, I was able to play with her dad, and we had never played before, and so we just sat down and were able to play a game. And so it feels like there is a huge age range of people who are just looking for something analog to connect over, and I think that Mahj is really special because I feel like, as a ADHD person, my sensory itch is really scratched with the tiles. I think that's so, like, that's a very special aspect of the game, I think. And there's the tactile aspect, but there's also like the clinking of the tiles and the sound, and all of that feels a little bit more special than a card game or a board game. But I will say that, like, all of those games, I think about D&D, and I think about like Magic the Gathering and the communities around those games and how rich those communities are as well. And I think that's those are beautiful examples of how you can sort of build community and intergenerational friendships as well.
And let's get to the awareness, and then we have some questions that are coming into the studio that I'd like to get out to you. The awareness you gave me is we're living in a time where people are craving real gathering again. Something as simple as a table and a game can become the place where belonging starts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so it just feels like there's a space. It's creating space for people. It's creating space for people who are showing up and who are, seeking community, seeking friendship, seeking something outside of their phone or their computer. And so that's sort of what I meant by that.
Well, we got some questions here for you, so I'm going to get them out to you. The first one we have that came in is Erin's perspective on community is so refreshing, is a comment. The next one is, Erin, what inspired you to turn Mahjong into a community experience?
Oh, well, I don't think I can take credit for that. I think Mahjong is a community experience, and I think it always has been. I think it has a very rich history. Starting in China in the 1800s. And I think that it's always been this. I definitely don't think that I'm taking credit. I'm not doing that. I think I discovered it. I discovered it and fell in love with it. And it's just enhanced my life.
The next question we have for you, Erin, is how do you think games help strengthen real life connections today?
I mean, I just feel like you get to know somebody through playing a game with them in a way that you would never actually get to know them, which is really, like, you get to see their imagination, you get to see their strategic thinking, you get to see all of these facets of are they competitive, are they not competitive? It's really interesting. Like, I am a competitive person, even though I'm an artist, and like, I have all of these aspects of my personality that you wouldn't necessarily associate with a competitive person. But I was teaching one of my friends to play, and it was funny because she goes, "Look, I just really don't give a shit. Like, I'm just not into games. I am not competitive." And I was like, "Okay, great. Like, this will never be for you, and that's totally cool."
Well, that's it, right? It is for someone, and then it's not for someone. Like, it's not everyone's cup of tea. I like that.
Yeah.
Like, at least she was able to be honest about it, right? This is not for me. We have another question here for you, Erin. What has been the most rewarding part of building Mahj Pit?
Yeah, that's a great question. There have been so many rewarding parts, honestly. I mean, I think building something from nothing is always rewarding. I have a post-it on my second monitor over here that says "Reflect on your success," and that's something that I have to remind myself to do, because I feel like I'm onto the, like, as a entrepreneur, and as a somebody who's working with physical products, and I feel like, I'm shipping out orders, I'm doing this, and like, there's so many things about the business that can be all consuming. To be able to just look back and say, like, wow, you've done a lot, and reflect on that is wonderful. But, like, honestly, I think when I really sit and think about it, it is so powerful and exciting to be able to be a part of people's lives in a way that is fun and exciting, and to, like, they're gonna pass these tiles down, like, hopefully to their grandkids or their kids, and to be part of that feels incredibly, it feels like a huge privilege that my designs are a part of someone's life.
Well, I'm going to pull up these beautiful tiles so that people can see the tiles that we're talking about. So I'm going to pull up a couple of images as let me just bring them in so that we can show everybody what we're talking about today. So let's start with this image here, Erin. If you just want to share a little bit about this image here.
Sure. So this is so with Mahjong, you have tiles, and then you have some racks and a mat, and these are my confetti travel tiles. It was something that I decided to focus on the travel tiles first, because a lot of the tiles are so large and can be really cumbersome, that I wanted something that someone in a city or an urban environment would be able to, take to the park and play with, or whatever. And so this was the sort of the cornerstone offering of Mahj Pit, where we have expanded and are continuing to expand our product offerings. But these confetti tiles are the sort of bread and butter, and I think it's a good representation of what Mahj Pit is as a brand.
So are they made out of glass or plastic?
They are made out of acrylic.
I always wondered, because when I looked at them, I was like, are they glass? Because you were talking about clinking, right? So I was just like, where's the clinking? The second image I have here that I'm going to bring up is, let me just find it right here. We're going to bring this one up. Just give it a second to pop up. And these ones here.
Yeah. So those are our full-size tiles. So they're a little bit larger. The racks are larger. And then that's the mat. But those actually aren't out yet, but they are coming. As a small business owner, I have to really prioritize everything that I'm bringing to market. So that's a sample set, but it is quite exciting. And yeah, those are part of the full size tile line.
So see, all of you viewers that are tuning in right now, you get to see a preview of what is coming. And the last image that I have here, I'm going to just pop it up, is, there we go.
Yeah. So this is one of our mats, and all of the mats that you've seen are available. The racks are available. And then again, one of the previews of the full size tiles. So pretty exciting.
See, Miss Liz brings pictures, I bring entertainment. There we go. Let me get this out here. We have a question that came in for you during our tile talking. What advice would you give to people wanting to build stronger communities, Erin?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think for the advice I would give is put yourself out there. I think like, I don't know if it's in terms, I think there are a lot of hobbies that I'm a hobby gal, so like I immediately go to a hobby to build a community. When I moved to Austin, I didn't know anyone, so I said I'll start playing tennis, because there's a lot of downtime. And then I got very into pottery. I still do ceramics, but I was a member of a pottery studio for 4 years here. And there's a lot of downtime there. And so I made such good friends there. I made such good friends through tennis. And now all of those people are part of my Mahjong group. So, it keeps just snowballing into more and more community.
And that's one thing we don't talk about, right? Is hobbies, how hobbies bring people together, right? And connect people, whether it's crafting, crocheting, knitting, and you know what I mean? Bringing those old hobbies together. And I think that's where the generations pass it down, right? Even cooking, bringing people together with cooking and that as well. So was this like the number one board like game that you grew up playing, Erin, or?
No, it wasn't. I had never played it. I mean, I wanted a game. I was in search of a game that I could play with my girlfriends for the next 30 years. Like that was what I wanted. I wanted a game that was specifically sort of around community. And I had my girlfriends come over, and then we got an instructor to come to my house. We got like a private lesson, which I highly recommend, because Mahjong, well, not it's really just about pairing suits. American Mahjong is you have a card. The card changes every year, but it tells you, exactly which lines will make Mahjong. Thus, you are the winner of the game. But there are a lot of, it can be intimidating at first. So I recommend a lesson. If you want to get started, if you're interested, that would be a good starting point. And in fact, our first lesson lasted 2.5 hours. And my husband and I are both designers. So we had a whiteboard in the garage, and I rolled the whiteboard in, and I asked the instructor, I said, will you write all of the rules on this whiteboard? And so for the first, I don't know, 2 months we played, me and my girlfriends would have that whiteboard as we played. And it was it was great because, you know, we would like get in arguments over the rules. And then one of my friends had on her phone a notes app. And every time that we would have a question about the rules or something, she would write it down. We would continue to play. And then she would look it up later and follow up with our group. So we were all learning the game at the same time. And that was really, so I guess back to the original question, I wanted a game I could play with my girlfriends. This is, I did not grow up playing this. I know that in the American Jewish community, a lot of people did grow up playing it, but I did not. And so, and obviously in Asian communities, a lot of people grew up playing it, but I did not, you know, I'm just a waspy gal. So I wasn't exposed to it, and I was seeking something like this out, and I found it.
We have a question that just came in from Real Charlotte. Is what makes Mahjong such a meaningful social tradition for you?
Yeah, I think it's I think that it's the community aspect of it, you know. I mean, it's like gathering. Well, there are all these aspects of having people into your home, right? Like it's you could play it out at a restaurant, but I've always loved hosting, and so for me, there's something about the aspect of hosting as well that feels like it's a nice thing to welcome people, but also it's a game you can just really get lost in, which, you know, any game like that is just, I think, really a delightful way to spend an evening.
So, Erin, do you remember any enjoyable conversations during learning the process of playing this game, like with your friends and that you could share with us?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, I think that one of the things that sticks with me is, you know, like all of the people that I play with, all of my girlfriends, they're all busy. Like we all have jobs, you know, and have busy lives. And it is, to me, it sticks with me that if we were to say we're going to go out to eat every Monday night and or like go to a bar and get a drink or whatever, we would all cancel because we would have nothing to talk about. But I think through playing the actual game, because we have an activity together around, I'm learning about their lives. Like I'm learning, you know, what's going on in, you know, everybody's dating life. We have a gal who's single and she's always dating and has exciting things going on. But it's also just like I mentioned, getting to know my friend's dad in a way, like sitting down, you know, playing a game for an hour and a half. I would have never gotten to know him or had something to like center spending that much time together with. Or my husband had a friend come into town, and this friend was here on business. His wife came and we met up with them for dinner, and I found out she played Mahj. So I immediately invited her over and we spent 2 nights playing. Had it not been for this game, like I would have never gotten to know her. And I just think it's a very, very cool thing to be able to center a starting point for a relationship around.
I think it opens up the conversation. Like you said, you wouldn't have known your father-in-law, you said? Had it not been
my friend's dad, yeah.
Your friend's dad. Had it not been for that game, right? And then you find out if they're competitive or not competitive. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't see that through a text message or through, you know, messaging through Instagram or stuff like that. You don't see these things, but when you're sitting face to face, you get to see who's competitive, who's not competitive, and who says I'm not competitive. But then as the game goes on, you see that they're really coming, right? So I want to talk to you about your design, because you went to, I'm just going to pull it up here, the Savannah College for Art and Design. What got you into that? And how old were you when you realized that you were going to get into that?
So, I don't know that that's a thing that I can take credit for. I think that my uncle said to my mom she needs to go to art school. Like, she's very creative. I don't think that I even understood, 17-year-old Erin didn't have a clue. But now, obviously, like that was so clearly my path. And so I was always creative. I was always, I remember so my family had a florist, and I was always like picking flowers out of the trash and making these little arrangements. And then like I would put them out in the, the retail area to sell. And like my family would be like, stop putting like dead flower arrangements out here. And I just remember I was always on some like creative hustle. And my uncle, I watercolored him a picture of flowers, and he went and got it framed and was like, this is amazing. And I think that he was the first person to really recognize that and sort of set that path in motion. My mom was always very supportive of me being in a creative field. I never felt like I needed to, like I couldn't have the freedom, or I never heard like, that's not going to make any money. But I feel like it was such a great experience, and really a great education, that allowed me that set me up for being able to work in tech, and have some sort of business acumen, in addition to having the creative experience that you need. And so I was a director of design for several tech companies, managing design teams. And that was a really rewarding career as well.
So Erin, you like the freedom of expression.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could express yourself right at this moment, how would you express yourself in colors?
In colors?
In colors.
Like what color would be my...
Like flow, color, pattern, marbleize, texture, hardcore?
Well, I vacillate all the time between a really like watercolory, chaotic, like floral visual, and a very structured graphical visual. Like those are my two go-tos. I love a stripe. I love a polka dot. I love a black and white. I love a charcoal. I like when I have a color that it's just a little pop of neon, like give me a tortoiseshell with like a pop of chartreuse and I'm there. I don't know if that answers your question, but those are things that.
And the reason that I did that was because I wanted to get into your color, and you did bring up your color. So your favorite color is charcoal. Mm-hmm. So tell us why charcoal.
I just feel like it goes with everything. It's always chic. It goes with everything. I mean, it's really hard to mess up.
You can't get any
Right. Yeah, I mean, my life is hard enough. I don't need like a really opinionated color running around.
I like the way you said that. Never messes up. So for everyone out there that's listening, if you could just express yourself in a color or a flow or a texture, how would you express yourselves? Put them in the comments. Share with us because I'm kind of curious. We're going to go down the color patterns, and I always ask my guests what their favorite color is because I like to know a little bit about, because color does express, and it's like art, right? So when you ask someone what their favorite color is, there's a reason behind it, whether it's a memory or expression or a moment in time. And your first set of tiles, I'm going to bring them right back up, is the confetti ones. Mm-hmm. So it kind of gives you like the full of color, right? It gives you like that mm-hmm. pop in one that you said. So when you were creating these first tiles, is that what you were thinking of, was bring that pop in there?
Well, I love color, even though my favorite color is charcoal. I love color, and I think that these tiles have confetti pieces in the back. So in the actual tile itself is pieces of confetti. And I think that that's a really fun celebration. I think it's a fun metaphor for the game. I also feel like there's a beautiful luminosity to the metallic aspects of the confetti. And then you have all of those colors. You pair that on the face with a transparent blue face and a really simple design, and it just feels like a piece of pop art to me that I can really get behind.
Yeah. Well, then, sometimes I take my guests down rabbit holes because I like to get like little things out, little pokers out. I call them pokers. Mm-hmm. Because my audience doesn't know what I asked you guys, right? The questions that I ask you. So I kind of like to switch it up. I don't like to kind of just say, well, Erin's favorite color is, mm-hmm. We kind of like to go down a little rabbit hole and kind of bring out some creativity as well, because we want to bring the arts out. What part of the arts in today's world is missing that you find, Erin?
What part of the arts? Like
design, creativity, like imagination. What do you think is missing in the arts in today's world?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't know that I really feel like I could critique I don't know that I feel qualified to answer that question. I don't know that I feel like I can critique. I just don't have an understanding really of what's out there fully enough to say this is missing or that is missing. And I feel like I would be remiss to say something and then, I think people are just always doing interesting things. And I don't know that it's art. I think art is about like the personal expression and what you want from it. And so I think that as long as you're getting what you need from what you're creating, then that works. And if you're not creating and you're just consuming, and the only person that can say what's missing is that individual that feels there's something missing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's what I was going for. I was going mm-hmm. for to, because a lot of people consume a lot, right? They consume a lot of stuff in today's world. Are they just consuming or are they creating? Mm-hmm. Are we getting lost in that consumption?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think there's certainly an aspect of it. You know, it's challenging for me, who someone who is like not a social media savvy person, in the way that like an influencer is savvy in social media. Like I'm just, you know, I can post, I'm here, I'm there. But I I think that that's a whole business side of creating now. And you know, I think that that can really be challenging for people. Like that's challenging for me. But that's, I guess that's like in addition to, it's not, you know, missing, maybe simplicity is the missing aspect of a creative business. But
Well, and that's what I want. I really enjoyed about what you're doing, Erin, is because you're bringing people together, right? You're connecting people.
Mhm.
So you're taking away from the consumption. You're taking away from feel. Just take a pause. Just play a board game. Just let all the vent out, like, you know, express, share if you got a new boyfriend or, you know, you got a new job. It gives you that time to connect and really bring conversation to the table again. Where I find being a host, and I talk to so many people, is the consumption. It gets overwhelming and it shuts us down slowly, and it's taking away the creativity of ourselves. And we're not knowing how to express ourselves without being liked or loved. You know what I mean? Like the consumption of just more, where your game gives them that pause of less, but also connecting, if that makes sense. So we have a question here for you, Erin, and is, can tradition really help bring generations closer together?
I think so. I feel like, yeah, I think that, I mean, I would say yes. I think that a tradition is something that can anchor people around, um, a activity. Or like I think what you mentioned cooking earlier, and that I feel like is immediately something that pops into my head. Like I have so many, I mean, I don't know a lot of people who don't have memories of Thanksgiving or, you know, like holidays in the kitchen. There's a special recipe, and like that to me is a tradition. Or even just like when I go home, my mom has an island in her kitchen, and we always sit around the island and talk. Like that to me is a tradition. And those aren't like, you know, big or flashy, but they are certainly something that I will, you know, always have.
Absolutely. And you know, bringing those memories back of saying, you know, favorite recipe, sitting around the island, you know, we look at so much all the time that we forget the little moments, the little things that bring people together. And that's what I find with your pieces and your Mahj Pit, is that it's bringing people together, people that would have never thought of getting together or sitting at a table for a couple of hours and playing this game. Uh, I want to talk to you about how long it took you to create the tiles.
Yeah. So it takes a long time to create a tile set, from start to finish. So it takes a long time to manufacture them. And there are different, I mean, some tile sets, so the confetti tiles are 2 layers. Some tile sets are 1 layer, that takes less time. Some tile sets are like 4 layers. Um, so I would say from the time that I start a design to the time that I get the tiles delivered from the manufacturer, I would say roughly 6 to 8 months.
Oh, interesting. So when people but people, when they order them, they don't take 6 to 8 months to get them, right?
No.
Just so we put that out there, because then people will be like, why did it take 6 to 8 months?
No. So I will have in stock. I mean, from my conception of the tiles to the manufacturing to having them shipped back over here, that whole process takes about 6 to 8 months.
See, there's lots of work that people don't know to go on behind the scenes. And that's one of my biggest message out there is we don't know how much work is being put out into things that we're doing, right? So we have another question here for you, Erin, and it's how important is design in creating meaningful experiences?
I mean, for me, it's very important. I would say I think that there's always something about a experience that has been thought out, that is more meaningful than something that you can tell when somebody's anticipated your needs and thought about, like when you arrive at a nice hotel, you walk into the lobby and they have like the fancy air scent stuff that and it's just like, oh, I've been traveling, and immediately I feel like this is a space that I can be at home in. That's a different that's a different that's a designed experience versus just walking into a hotel and like, maybe it's not as welcoming, or maybe like nobody's at the front desk because they're on a break and so I would say that, I mean, for me, it is important, I think, but like we all have our own threshold of what is and isn't important and what we do and don't value. Like my things that are important to me are not as important to my husband. Like I also have OCD, so it was like those things I can like really fixate on, and they're very, very important to me. And he's like, I don't understand like why this is so important. And I'm sitting there thinking like, like what? How could this not be important to you?
Right? Well, Erin, we have a question on how does Mahj Pit make beginners feel more welcome?
So I would say that I worked really hard on making my tiles playable. I know that so you have the traditional American Chinese version of the tiles. And so that's what everything is like anchored around, right, in this game. So you have 3 different suits. You have BAMs, you have cracks, and you have dots. Like those are the 3 suits. And so you've got dragons and winds. And I mean, if you don't play Mahjong, then you probably think that I'm just like this is a Mad Libs game that I'm playing with myself. But I would say that I worked very hard in the design to make those match the aesthetic that I wanted. However, like keeping them easily identifiable if you are only used to using the traditional tiles. A lot of people, a lot of tiles I've seen, I feel like kind of lose the plot a little bit on like they take it so far in the design that you have to have a card that tells you what everything is. I would say as a beginner, these tiles are also something that you will be able to easily identify. I also work really hard on making them accessible in terms of high contrast, in terms of the size of the numbers on the tiles. I want them to, I want a variety of people with different abilities to be able to play very easily with the tiles.
And that's what I like about your tiles is they're really easy design, because like you said, some get really carried away and you almost need a card to understand what you're looking for. They get so busy and you get lost into the tiles, right? Or they make their tiles really similar. So then you're like kind of like a hidden object game, right? Like, is that really the right one? Or so how did you come up with the design, like the patterns and that go onto the tiles?
Well, I mean, so the designs like are from the 1800, they're the Chinese designs. Like that's a lot of what we play with. There's some modifications to the American version, but what I did and what I wanted to do is just boil everything down to its most minimal form. And so that's sort of what I did. That's where I started. And as a graphic designer, there's a lot of that in the work that I have done and continue to do. So, my degree is actually in communication, like the visual communication, I think is technically what it is. So that's, I think, coming through in the design of what I did.
We have a question here from Real Charlotte. How do you balance modern ideals with traditional culture?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the modernity of the tiles is really in the materials and the material advances. Like I think that culturally, what is created around that table is the beautiful part. And so I think that that's the most important aspect of things.
Then we have a question here from Rochelle. Do you think intentional gatherings can improve mental wellness?
Absolutely. I think that I keep harkening back to the fact that like we all used to have a built-in community in a religious circle, for example. Like people up until let's say like 50 years ago, like relied on church as the cornerstone of their social like outing, their social life. And so as we've gotten further away from religion, I think now we are really at a point where we want something that some social aspect. And like me and my husband have worked from home since COVID, and I think a lot of people have. And so, that's taken us even further away from social gatherings and other things. And I think one of the things that my neighborhood does is our neighbors have a block party every year that they have bands come and play. It's very cute. And I just think that that's like a real lost art. And I also think that, gathering together with people over a shared thing, whether it's Mahjong or, D&D or a Stitch and Bitch where you're all working on your own individual things, is like, it's great. I feel like there's no way that it can't enhance your mental health.
And how do you see the future of social connection evolving, Erin?
I'd like to think that it's just people connecting together over a activity or something and building relationships. And I almost want to say, like, maybe it doesn't evolve. I mean, the way that I see it evolving is like right now I see everybody falling in love with like an AI robot, and that's not the answer that I really want to give. And like, I don't know that I like the way that it's evolving. So I'm just going to say, like, I'm going to keep doing my thing over here, and I'm going to evolve my relationships, and I'm going to involve like my social circles. And like, that's the way that I'm comfortable evolving it. So I don't know what technology has in store for us, but like, that's where I'm at.
And what advice would you give to someone wanting to bring people together in a meaningful way?
I mean, the advice I'd give is just send out the invite.
We just need connection. And that's what I like doing is I like bringing people to the table for tea time that brings teaching educational awareness. We don't serve a beverage, right? We serve teaching in different ways, educating in different ways, bringing different perspectives to the table. Like you said, your one friend said this was not her cup of tea at all. Well, but then you have 4 other ones that are like, oh, let's play this game, right? I'll tell you about my new boyfriend or my new job. It's just bringing those people together and having that open conversation and sharing. And I love what you're doing. So keep doing what you're doing, Erin. But what final message would you have for everybody out there today on Tea Time?
Yeah, well, I just want to say thank you so much for having me and for all of your questions. I hope that there is a space in your life where you're able to find community. And if you're interested in Mahjong, check out mahjpit.co, .co, not com. Don't go to com. mahjpit.co. And yeah, feel free to reach out to me with any other questions. I really appreciate all of the thought that people put into everything. And Miss Liz, thank you so much for having me. This is wonderful.
Well, it was a pleasure having you on Tea Time and getting to teach the different generations out there. I want to know how many people have played this game, how many people will play it now that they know about your tiles, and who will share this tea time. That is the mission today. Let's get this tea time out there. Let's start getting some board games out there again. Let's get some tiles out there. Camping is coming around the corner, guys, so that's a good time to bring it out as well. Summertime is coming, the warmer weather, all that good stuff. I just really want to thank everybody for tuning in, because I could not do this without all of you guys. So I'm just going to do a quick wrap up of what today's tea time is, and I'll be back at 7 and we'll do this all over again. What a refreshing and meaningful conversation. Erin, thank you for reminding us that connection doesn't always need to be complicated. Sometimes it begins with something as simple as pulling up a chair, sharing a table, and creating space for people to gather. This afternoon, we were reminded that tradition can evolve without losing their soul, and that design, games, and shared experiences can become powerful tools for community and belonging. Your work through Mahj Pit is about more than Mahjong. It is about creating intentional moments in a world full of distractions, moments where people feel seen, included, relaxed, and connected again. Here is something to carry with you after this tea time. When was the last time you truly slowed down long enough to connect with the people around you? Because sometimes healing, laughter, friendship, and belonging begins with something very simple, a shared moment around a table. Until our next cup, keep sharing, keep gathering, keep connecting, and keep creating spaces where people feel they belong. And I'll see everybody at 7 p.m. and we'll do this all over again. Be sure to check out Miss Liz. If you haven't found Miss Liz, it's Miss Liz, www.misslizsteatimes.com. Check out that website and check out all the platforms. Give those a like, follow, and subscribe, and share, and get these tea times out there because they do resonate with someone. I guarantee you that. And again, I could not do this without all of you guys. So thank you again, Erin, for joining me on Tea Time and getting this out there. And keep me posted when the new tiles come out so that I can get that out there to my listeners as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Bye.